we're going to interview Dok Kwon from Cupbop. It is an unbelievable story. Korean food to go in a cup. And without further ado, let's begin.
You know, we talked it out. Obviously, Cupbop wasn't a big company at the time. Didn't have a lot of cash. And I remember, you know, there was conversation about, hey, we don't have much cash. Obviously, you know, you make a lot more money than, you know, somebody with your, you know, years of experience in other careers. We're not able to, you know, there's no way we can even get close. Then I said, oh, you don't need to get close. I don't care about my salary. That's not why I'm here.
Right.
I said, let's grow this together. I'll bet on myself. I'll get equity, and I don't care what you pay me. Let's do this.
Live ready, reach higher, chase the sky, beyond thinking, grow rich, you'll learn to fly.
My guest today, Dok Kwon. Doc, welcome to our program.
Thanks for having me here.
Well, I want to dive right into it. You represent an exciting food business. Tell us about your company.
Cupbop is a quick service restaurant. It's a Korean BBQ-in-a-cup concept that started right here in Salt Lake City.
Right over by
Galvin Center.
Right down the street from us.
Yep, right down the street. And we've been around for 12 years now. Started as a food truck. We are over 60 locations now.
60 locations.
Yep.
In 4 states?
In 7 states.
7 states.
Yep. So over 60 here in the U.S. We actually, most people don't know this, we actually have a lot more locations in Indonesia.
180?
Oh, it's higher now. It's over 200 now. So
Wow.
about 215 in Indonesia. We just had our first grand opening in Dubai a couple weeks ago as well. We plan to have a couple more, before the end of the year. So we'll be
I had
going to
a
Dubai.
wonderful opportunity of visiting Dubai on a business deal that I was involved in a few years ago. Fabulous.
Oh,
city.
fascinating place.
Yes.
But we were able to team up with an amazing partner there, so we're very excited about it.
Tell me about where the name came from, Cupbop.
Yeah. So Cupbop literally means a cup. Bop means a meal in Korean, or rice interchangeably.
Oh, bot means meal.
Bop means meal. And so it just means
and I think
meal
I
in a
called
cup.
it Cupbop. Cupbop.
Yeah, Cupbop. It just means meal in a cup.
Well, we learned a little Korean today already.
Hey, there we go.
Well, tell us about how, so when you came to the United States, you and your partner, there was already success in Indonesia. Is that what I'm hearing? Or did that come after you came here and started the food truck?
Yeah,
first?
so it started in the States first.
Oh.
So my partner, Jung, he is the one that first started the food truck.
Uh-huh.
And I met Jung as a customer very early days. And I actually ended up, doing, having a career in finance in New York for a number of years, about 7 years, before I was itching to try something new, and joined Cupbop now about 6 years ago when we were 10 locations. And I've been working hard to...
So, Doc, has your primary responsibilities been to find ways to create the growth in a logical manner that could be sustainable?
Yes, that has been my responsibility, because Jung is very much he's a creative genius. He is one of a kind, truly, in a sense, and you know, we want him to be where he can really thrive, and that's in his creative world, and he doesn't want to be bothered by anything else, really. That's just the person he is. And so I take on, as COO and the president, I take on the day-to-day operations, to leading the various departments, to grow the company in a scalable, healthy
You know,
way.
I grew up in the food business. I started with Farrell's Ice Cream Parlor Restaurants at 18 as a dishwasher. Worked my way up to assistant manager, district manager,
That's
regional
amazing.
manager, then director of training. But the one thing that I learned from Mr. Farrell at Farrell's Ice Cream Parlor Restaurant was he told me early on as a kid, we're not in the food business. We're in the memory business.
I
and I
love
want you to
that.
remember that people walk in, they're frustrated, they're a little irritated. And when they walk out, I want to see a smile on their face
That's so
and a little dose of happy-itis. Mr. Farrell knew, he introduced me to a book called Think and Grow Rich, which I'm going to give you a copy later on. I've rewritten it. It's one of the most... is written in 1937 by Dr. Napoleon Hill's created more success millionaires of any book written. But it talks about a principle called a specialized talent team. And you just mentioned it to me, is that Mr. Farrell said, look, I am the ambassador of happiness.
Yep.
That's all. I visit every store and I talk about happiness and talk about how it is we do it. Somebody else we have that is an expert that runs the business, somebody else, the accounting, but find people who love what they do and their talent. When you put them together, working in harmony for the pursuit of a common purpose, you enter the genius zone. Sounds like you're in the genius zone.
Yeah, that's what we try to do for sure. I don't know if we're there yet, but we try. That's for sure.
In how many years now? 13?
12 years, yeah.
12 years. And we have how many stores in the United States?
Over 60.
60. And in
Yeah. Over 200 in Indonesia.
that
And growing
probably is the
elsewhere.
result of the genius zone.
Yeah,
You have each person doing what they love, great things happen. Tell me about how this thing got started. Where did your partner come from? How did
Yeah.
you come up with an idea of a food truck? Tell me.
Yeah.
And I want to know a little bit about the taste, what he's trying
Yeah.
to create in the experience of a quick meal.
The story about Cupbop, it was really, Jung's, as I said, he's a very creative person. He's an entrepreneur. He's got that entrepreneurial spirit. Previous to Cupbop, he also started a company called Gorilla VIP. And essentially think of it as Groupon exclusively for restaurants, right? So he would go around, partner up with various restaurants and get specialized discounts, and essentially is able to offer that to consumers and essentially kind of sell that package. And, because he had to work with restaurants, he had visited hundreds, if not thousands of restaurants, right, to bring them on as partners. And over the years, I think Jung really just started taking just notes for himself as to, why is this restaurant so successful? Then all of a sudden, it's gone, right? There are restaurants where it wasn't doing well. All of a sudden, it's doing well. And he started just creating a to-do list of it. If I ever start a restaurant, these are the things that I'm going to do. These are the things that I will never do.
It's just as important to know what not to do as it is to know
if more
what
important,
to do.
if not more important, right? And so he started taking notes on that. And one day, there was a big food convention out in Salt Lake City, and he visited there and saw that many different cuisines were represented. And back then, Korean cuisine was not represented. And that stoked a little fire in him. And he said, you know what? I think Korean cuisine has everything that it takes to be successful here in the U.S. I'm going to create something. And so, that's how the concept was born. His core points were, it's got to be simple, it's got to be efficient. Obviously, it's got to taste really good, and it's got to be fast, convenient, but doesn't taste like it, right? And he took some time developing the recipes
And not have to wait long.
Yes.
So many people get into takeout.
Yes.
And they think fast food, but they want something special.
Yeah.
how do you do special
Yeah.
and have it fast?
Right. And that's really the magic formula of, whenever we are doing R&D for a new menu, we want to make sure that our core principles are there, right? It needs to be efficient. We can't it's got to be trainable, right, to an ordinary teenager, right? And that's kind of the barometer that we have in our heads. But it's also got to taste good and not fast, as you put it. And there's no formula. It's just a lot of trial and error of R&D, and us coming up with our recipes with our wonderful corporate chef JB. So.
Well, I bet you that's a fun experience when you have a creative day. And
Yes.
you're making
It's
dishes
a very fun day.
dishes upon dishes.
It happens a lot. It's always happening in our office. So
That is cool. I remember early in my career, we came to an experience with Roy Rogers Family Restaurants where our team began to shift in that instead of teenagers, it became more of immigrants that English was not their first language.
Yep.
And we were having a lot of trouble in our business, and you know this as well. We may lose money on an entree. We've got to sell a soft drink. We got to sell a salad, fries, something. We got to sell a dessert. If you get a 4-ticket item, you've got about a 29% food cost.
Yeah.
If you've got a single item, you've got about a 45% food cost, and the math doesn't work. And we were having trouble getting that combination.
Yes.
And then somebody, and I'll never forget, there was a Parade magazine or something of that laying there, and it showed a roast beef sandwich, a Coke, fries, and an apple turnover. And somebody came up with the idea, I know, let's do choice 1, choice 2, choice 3, choice 4, and let's put the entree bottom right because your eye top to bottom, and then you can just point which one.
Right.
I understand that your partner kind of came across that kind of an approach early on in his career as well.
Yeah.
Shh, just choose.
Yeah.
At what age do you wish you had unlocked the principles that lead to success? Where do you think you'd be today if you had learned them as a child? Yes, Our Kids Can is a program developed at Harvard and tested in San Antonio's school systems, designed to give children of all backgrounds the opportunity to plant the seeds for future success, using learning techniques they understand and enjoy. Through engaging animated stories, fun sing-along songs, and interactive games, Yes, Our Kids Can teaches your child the empowering, success-driven principles needed to reach their full potential. Don't miss this opportunity to give your children the future they deserve. Yes, Our Kids Can is available now on the Apple App Store and Google Play. Sign up today and help make your child's dreams a reality.
And that was literally because he couldn't speak English. And people would keep asking him, what's in here? What's in this bowl? What are the ingredients here? And because he didn't speak English very well, he would literally tell them, just eat. Eat. And that became our slogan. And it was out of necessity, actually, more than anything else.
I love it. The picture looks good. Shh, just eat. Be happy.
Yeah.
Well, tell me, how is it that we learned his story? And he came, was he an immigrant to?
He's an immigrant. Yeah, I'm an immigrant. We're both immigrants. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I'm the son of an immigrant. And I'll tell you what, the one thing that I notice about immigrants, sons, daughters of immigrants, is the one thing that we know is how to work.
Yep.
We know
that's what I need to teach my kids. I think about that every day.
We can't lose that for sure. So he came when?
I believe Jung came after, right after, like in his college years.
Okay.
Is when he came.
And tell me now about you. Start with a little bit of your family story. I want to know now, shift a little bit. Tell me about you.
I was born in Korea, South Korea. And
what city?
Incheon. So where the international airport is. That's where I was born. I It's actually a pretty interesting story now looking back at it now that I'm a parent. My family and I, we came on a vacation in August of '99. And we had a couple weeks of vacation out on the West Coast, the national parks, all of that. And the day before we're supposed to fly back to Korea, my parents sat me and my brother down. I was 11 at the time. My brother was 12. And said, hey, need to tell you something. You guys are actually not coming back with us tomorrow. You guys are going to stay here. You're going to start going to school. This is where you're going to live. This is where the opportunities are. And they went back the next day. And so they found a school. They found a family for us to stay with.
Wow.
Yeah, it's great. Now looking back, it's crazy because 11-year-olds, 12-years.
Yes.
I was a 6th grader. My brother was 7th grader at the time.
What a sacrifice your mom and
incredible.
dad
Incredible.
made. I mean, the
Incredible.
sorrow and
Yep.
and wow.
They said they shed all their tears back then in their life. So, and it was, back in the day, it wasn't, where we didn't have FaceTime. We didn't have all this technology where we're easily able to, the world is much more connected now. And so, we started going to school the next week. And
Now, was that in Salt Lake?
I was in Utah. That was in Provo. They found
Really?
They had a family friend that lived in Utah, and my parents looked into Utah and said, "Hey, it seems like a very religious state. A lot of people don't smoke, drink. It looks safe. All right, let's send our kids there." And so I went.
Well,
to
Happy Valley is about as safe as you could be back
exactly.
then in Provo, Utah.
That's right. So we ended up going to a small private school that no longer exists, but it's called Meridian School on 9th East in Provo. And we graduated from there.
Who was the family you lived with?
It was a family friend of the family that my parents knew. And so we lived with them for about a year. We ended up moving to our host family that we lived a long time with. My host father was the English teacher at the time of the school we were going to. An amazing, amazing family.
What was his name?
Justin Kennington, Anna Kennington.
Okay.
It's the Kenningtons. Unbelievable family. Still family to us.
Right.
And we lived there, went to school in Provo, graduated, and it was a small private school, K through 12. So
right.
It was just one school. So graduated from there, and ended up going to BYU.
Wow.
As kind of the minority non-LDS population. I studied accounting at BYU and looking for and while we were going through our high school years, my dad's business in Korea went belly up, and we were. They try to shield us from everything, but it was very, we could tell at that age that, okay, something is gravely wrong here.
Right.
This is a state of emergency. We need to do something really quickly. And so while going to school, I thought, okay, I need to get our family back in shape. It's, my brother and I, it's kind of our turn. What do I do? What do I need to do to make a lot of money? That was kind of my focus.
Right.
And I just Googled it, said, where can I make a lot of money after graduation? And they said, if you go to a hedge fund in New York, you can make a lot of money. I said, okay, that's what I got to do. How do I get there? Generally, you go to an investment bank and, transfer. And I said, okay, that's what I need to do. So after graduating BYU, I ended up working at Goldman Sachs in their research division.
Right.
And spent about 2.5 years. And I met Jung right before moving to New York. So there was a 3-4 months overlap. That's when the Cupbop food truck first started, and I was just an avid customer.
Right.
And I remember, kind of my last visit before leaving for New York, telling him, hey, this is a brilliant concept. You're going to do great. Come to New York one day. I'm sure I'll see you. Went to New York. I spent about 2.5 years at Goldman, and then moved to a big hedge fund called Citadel, where I worked about 4.5 years as an investor. I ran a portfolio there. And it became, it was a pretty big portfolio at the end. By the time I resigned, it was over about $480 million portfolio that I was running. But I was just itching to try something new. I always had this itch of, I want to do my own thing. Had no idea what it was. Had no idea it was going to be in restaurants. I actually never thought it was going to be in restaurants.
Let me interrupt you just for a second. Tell me, during this time period that you went with the hedge fund management and helping intervene in your turn, your brothers and yours turn, how did that affect your parents? Were you able to assist? Were you able?
Oh, absolutely.
Did they come to the United States? Did you?
Yeah.
Tell us.
So they stayed in Korea. Because they were based. They would visit, but after my brother and I graduated and got jobs, we were able to fully take care of them.
Good.
Yeah. So that was my brother. He studied chemical engineering at BYU and ended up going to law school and to Duke Law. And then he also went to New York to work for, I think, the largest law firm in the world by revenue, Kirkland & Ellis.
Wow.
And she's still there. As a partner
So
there.
your brother's very successful
as
well.
So he ended up going to New York. I ended up making it in New York. And so, we were... Since then, the family's been taken care of,
That's
and it's
cool.
been an amazing blessing.
We have a similar background. I was raised in Utah foster care from 1 to 14, and I was placed with a host family at 8 in Provo, Utah.
That's amazing.
And it's there that I got the foundation for, I think faith-wise, I learned more about what I wouldn't do. In my life. And I think it's important to, some about what I'm going to do, but having that foundation, these are the things I will not do. When it comes to your word, it comes to honesty, when it comes to ethics and what have you. And then at 14, I went back, was able to join my father, who had come to this country as a migrant worker, and then start my career as a dishwasher.
That's amazing.
But tell me now, you've left the hedge fund.
Yep.
Where did you go?
So that was 6 years ago. That was right into Cupbop.
Wow.
So I was just looking at a startup to join at the time. Mostly was looking at tech companies, back then. It actually wasn't that interesting. Many different opportunities that I looked at. I don't know. It just didn't kind of stoke that fire in me. So I held out, stayed at Citadel for a couple more years. And, Cupbop, this brand just one day popped in my mind. Said, how's that awesome brand doing? And I Facebook stalked Cupbop a little bit. Saw that it was up to about 10 locations at the time. And I said, oh, great. That's amazing. I ended up reaching out to Jung and said, hey, we need to talk. So we ended up having long conversations. Where's the company at? What are your goals? This, that. And, it was just at the time where, Jung said, the demand is great. People love our brand, but it's starting to become very hard to manage. And I thought, okay, maybe I could help with that. I think I, perhaps know a thing or two about scaling businesses. It's actually, looking back, it's kind of embarrassing that I even thought that. But
well, I tell you what, half of achievement is just having the personal initiative and self-discipline to find the path and to become an expert of repetition, good repetition, good habits, good patterns, and eliminate the ones that aren't. And it sounds to me like you were not. You have an interesting background in that it's short, really well thought out purpose, what I want, how I'm going to get it. And then you get the experience of how to raise money, how to manage money, how to lead people in systems. And then you go right into a business and do it.
Yeah, I was always burning to run a business. And, after long conversations, what really got me sold was when, I will never forget this. I was just having this final conversations with Jung, right? A lot of people around me thought I was crazy that I was thinking about leaving Citadel for, because I talked to, a few people around me, and they said, why would you leave Citadel, the best hedge fund in the world, to join a restaurant, local restaurant group, right? That started out a food truck, and it was at the time where, all these thoughts were in my head. Things were a little bit vague, and I was having that conversation with Jung, and what Jung said got me completely over the line. He said, hey, Doc, look, there are a lot of successful hedge fund managers in New York, but nobody's been able to create a national brand out of Korean cuisine. No one.
Wow, yeah.
And when I heard that, it was over.
Yeah.
I thought that was the coolest thing ever.
Well, Jung seems like a very, very
charismatic,
smart,
yeah,
charismatic.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it was almost instantly that you moved from hello to there was a reason that the two of you could help each other.
Yes.
That's very unusual.
Yes.
And immediately it seems like to me I can sense that you had a high level of trust for each other.
Yeah.
So putting your deal together legally wasn't difficult.
No, it was very simple. We talked it out. Obviously, Cupbop wasn't a big company at the time. Didn't have a lot of cash, and I remember, there was conversation about, hey, we don't have much cash. Obviously, you make a lot more money than somebody with your years of experience in other careers. We're not able to, there's no way we can even get close. Then I said, oh, you don't need to get close. I don't care about my salary. That's not why I'm here.
Right.
I said, let's grow this together. I'll bet on myself. I'll get equity, and I don't care what you pay me. Let's do this. And so, that was 6 years ago. And I packed up, quit Citadel, packed up, came back to Utah. And 6 months later, it was COVID. And so we thought we were going to close down. It was this close.
Yeah.
It was this close. But we were able to, that's the thing about business. There are always, these miraculous things that just happen, and you're able to continue going. And I think that's just what defines a business. It's just never-ending roller coaster ride, right? And I'm extremely proud of our team. Our team, we have an unbelievable team.
How many associate team members do you have?
I think in the support center we have about 20 people. When I joined, it was 3 people. So we've grown a lot.
Are these franchises or are these individually owned
we are still majority corporate.
Okay.
We didn't officially, start really looking into franchise actually until earlier this year. For various reasons. We weren't ready. I mean, we got, Jung and I, we were on Shark Tank a few years ago. And after that,
is that right?
I think we were on 3 years ago.
And what happened?
Yeah, so on the show, we got a deal with Mark Cuban.
Oh.
We ended up not closing for various reasons. I mean, we were a little bit bigger in size for Shark Tank, and because Mark's very busy, they have a very strict Shark Tank template of things that, you talk about, the valuation on the show, but that's about it, right? You get in and there are all these, the rights, first right of refusal to a lot of these legal things you have to deal with after. And it ended up not going through. But post the show with the exposure, we got a lot and lots of franchise inquiries, obviously.
Yeah.
But we made the tough decision to say, no, we're not ready. We don't want to grow to grow.
I will tell you this. I was president of the Franchise Association for Farrell's Ice Cream Parlor, which I used to own a location in Fashion Place Mall along with four others in the 80s. But Chick-fil-A has come out, I think, with the best approach to
unbelievable
franchising.
move, yes.
Is that the franchising
system.
can help you get numbers, but they can also help you lose who you are.
Yes.
But and it's talking about COVID. You look at those who decide to find their way out. Chick-fil-A was doing $4 million per location when COVID hit, and end up doing 8.4 after because they learned the drive-up window. Now you're predominantly takeout. Is that right?
Yes, we are. Yeah, we're very grateful in that. Our concept fits right in with kind of, the macro trend of delivery, takeout. We're about 35 to 40% just third-party digital, and even in stores, I would say at least half, if not more, are pickup right now.
Right.
And so we're very heavily geared towards delivery and takeout, which is great because. It allows us to be efficient, and that's really in our DNA, right? We started from a food truck, and so we can't have super complicated operations to begin with.
When I heard about your story and the food truck, and we have one of our associates here that just raves about you. That's how you came on our radar.
That's awesome.
And but it reminded me of that movie I saw on a plane somewhere. And it was Chef.
Yes.
He was at a fine dining, and then he ends up going to a food truck and then back.
Oh, it is hard. Food is hard. You know how hard food is. And it's been, it has been, don't get me wrong, it has been gruesome. It's been tough, right? And it's been, I think part of it's been by decision. It's been a conscious decision for us so we've never raised money.
Really?
So, nope. So we've grown organically.
Wow.
And that's what I'm the most proud of our team.
Man, I have never heard of that.
Yeah, so we have not.
I was just going to ask you, how do investors find out about you? I guess they don't need to know because you're
no, we get we've gotten a lot of calls from PEs, VCs. We have not.
A hedge fund would love you.
Yeah, we have not taken an investment yet.
That's very nice.
And part of the decision was because, we're in food, and if we're in software, I would say we would have taken an investment long ago and would have gone running. But as people in the food industry know, it's a very intensive business operationally, right?
Yeah,
and
very.
Raising $30-40 million and opening a lot of stores necessarily isn't a good thing. If anything, that probably opens the biggest opportunity for failure.
Farrell's Ice Cream Parlor Restaurant, owned by Robert E. Farrell, started in Portland, Oregon, 25 stores when I met him, merged with Marriott. Marriott gave them everything they need to hang themselves and get to 150 overnight. Yep. And we couldn't keep the theme. We couldn't keep the atmosphere. It became about food instead of memories.
Exactly.
And Farrell's is no more.
And that's the thing. I thought we raise a lot of money and open a lot of restaurants, but that's necessarily not a good thing. I don't want to go that fast to start with because we're in restaurants. So I thought,
as we come to an end of our program, I want you to tell the listeners about why should they visit you and how do they visit you and what will they find on their first visit.
You should visit us because we have an awesome product, amazing food. We have a very unique brand. We say in a sea of sandwiches, burgers, pizza, it's something that I'm sure you've never had. Even within Korean, the concept itself is very unique. And Jung was obviously the genius behind it. But you'll find a lot of energy in our stores. We're not perfect, obviously, but we try to be, and that's in our DNA, right? Jung used to be, actually, before becoming a businessman, he used to be a break dancer. And he used to dance in front of our trucks all the time. That's
Wow.
how the Cupbop was able to get a lot of attention at the beginning for these, loud, he almost put kind of the Asian stereotype on its head. Usually people don't, when they're not comfortable with the language, they tend to be a little bit quieter and all of that. And Jung flipped that on its head. We're the loudest, right? And it's a fun environment. There's something for everybody, from kids to adults.
I tell you something, that the story is powerful. And I can't help but in closing talk about the power of America when it understands the power of immigration.
Yes.
And getting it right.
Absolutely.
That this country was built on stories like yours and mine.
Absolutely.
And
100%.
We employ a lot of folks. Small
Yes.
business employs about 65% of the total workforce in America.
Yeah.
And when we celebrate that, boy, America
Absolutely.
there's no place like it.
Amen.
I'd like to give you a gift for being on our show today. This is a copy of my new book, Live Ready, Beyond
Awesome.
Think and Grow Rich. And I want to thank you for being on our program.
Thank you so much,
today.
David.
What a great
Thanks for
story.
having me.
Thank you.
Live ready, reach higher, chase the sky. Beyond think and grow rich, you'll learn to fly with every step forward.